I do want to get into this. This part of the reporting almost has nothing to do with the leaked emails, but everything to do with the core issue. Out of the 650,000 emails, why the hell was John Gruden's emails leaked? Like, of all the emails, why was John Gruden's leaked?
It goes back. I mean, when it first came out, the big thing was he and Goodell's, I guess, friendship, rivalry, the way they don't like each other. Because a lot of stuff that he was saying there, he hated Roger Goodell, and so that's why Roger Goodell's name got put on the odds list, because it's like a lot of the hate was directed towards Roger Goodell, so they could see Roger Goodell putting it out.
So John Gruden hates Roger Goodell. Roger Goodell hates John Gruden.
There
you want to know why?
Yeah.
Okay. According to this, and you'll love this, actually, Maz. I think you of all people will
You
love
know
this
I
more
will.
than anybody.
He's digging his teeth into it.
So this is. I'm going to read a little bit of this to you.
Okay.
It's long, but I've highlighted some parts which hopefully encapsulate the reasons. So Gruden had his reasons to believe Goodell and the league office had it out for him. The reasons were planted by Al Davis, who taught Gruden to hate the NFL office from the moment he hired the coach in 1998. 8 years before Goodell became commissioner, Davis often told Gruden that executives at 345 Park Avenue played favorites. Classic Raiders paranoia. But it also stemmed from Davis suing the league for antitrust violations.
And winning.
Davis was also convinced that then Commissioner Pete Rozelle had personally killed a trade before the '83 draft that would have sent John Elway to the Raiders, refusing to allow a generational quarterback to play for a renegade franchise.
I didn't know that.
No.
But after becoming one of the game's best and most celebrated coaches, Gruden saw examples that the old man was right. How else to explain the since eliminated Tuck rule, a rule that Gruden, a student of the game, had never heard of before, that led to the Patriots' playoff victory against the Raiders at the Raiders' expense in 2002. As the years passed, Gruden won a Super Bowl with Tampa Bay and eventually moved to the Monday Night Football booth in 2009. His hatred for the league, though, grew. In 2011, Gruden is especially in a bad headspace. He later told friends he was furious at the owner's lockout that offseason, that the clubs had voted in 2009 to give teams the option to eliminate pension plans for assistant coaches and other employees. His frustration came to a boiling point in 2011 in a December Monday Night Football game against the Falcons and Saints. Gruden stated his displeasure with a call where Marquise Colston was hit and flagged over the middle for unnecessary roughness by Curtis Lofton. Gruden stated this, quote, "I just don't understand how the games are being officiated," Gruden said after the play on the next possession. His commentary earned him a call from the league's office at Park Avenue headquarters. Over the phone, Goodell asked Gruden to come to the league office to meet with John Madden and Jeff Fisher. The purpose, as the commissioner explained, was for Gruden to get a lesson in player safety. You got to be shitting me. Gruden told Goodell, "You've got to be shitting me." Gruden wondered whether or not it was a joke. He later told associates he needed a player safety lesson from Madden and Fisher, two coaches whose players delivered some of the ugliest hits in NFL
So
history.
now we get Fisher's name into the mix, because Fisher's name came
Right,
up.
yeah.
Aha!
There we go.
Gruden later told friends that he felt Goodell was treating him like a stooge who had never coached in the league. Like, I don't study football day in and day out. Like, I don't know a damn thing about player safety. Gruden never went to that league meeting. Gruden never went to the league office for that meeting.
He can do that.
One other point. And then I'll stop because this is long and it's got a litany of different points, but I like this one. Gruden burned with suspicion when Mark Davis was elbowed out of a 3-team derby to relocate to Los Angeles in 2016. Despite owning the most popular team in the market by far, those feelings intensified in 2020 when Gruden was in his third year as Raiders head coach. The league fined the Raiders $500,000 and fined Gruden $150,000 and stripped the team of a 6th-round draft pick due to COVID-19 violations. And that was after the league had fined the team and Gruden a total of $350,000 for violations earlier in the season. Mark Davis offered to pay Gruden's $150,000 fine, but league officials insisted Gruden do it on his own. Livid. Gruden was pissed. He appealed the fines, but ended up writing the checks. He paid that fine. After he did, his friend Sean Payton, then the Saints coach, who was also fined for COVID-19 violations, called him and laughed. I never paid the fine.
Yep.
Adding, other coaches also refused to pay. You're the
You said it.
Sean Payton told Gruden, "You're the only dumb fuck that paid."
Yep. I read that and I loved
Yo.
that
my
as
God.
well.
Yeah, that
How
is-
great is that story?
That's an
Wow.
amazing read. I don't know if
I
it's
mean,
better
that's-
because you read it but it was amazing.
That is a 15-year history
Yeah.
from 98 to 23
The Raiders.
of hate.
The Raiders.
25, excuse me. That's a
25 years. Yeah.
year history of hate.
The Raiders should be in L.A. They were the original
Yep.
L.A. Raiders.
Yep.
They were not allowed.
Wow.
He let Stan Kroenke move, and he let that carpetbagger in San Diego move his team
Yep.
to L.A. instead of just letting the Raiders move up the street from Oakland to Los Angeles. What a crop.
So two things. One, that car is clearly going the wrong way. Two,
man.
yeah, that is outlined to the T in terms of why those guys do not like the Raiders. And also, now it makes sense, man. What team do I say that Adam Silver and David Stern hate?
The Pistons.
The Detroit Pistons. Who did the Detroit Pistons link up with in the 80s?
Oakland Raiders.
The Raiders.
They're L.A. Raiders.
The LA Raiders
Raiders
at the time. They gave us all their gear, but our stuff was black and silver
funny.
like that. It's the same thing. The NFL has it out on the Raiders for Al Davis, and I guess it never stops. It's like, yo, once you become the commissioner or once you become this, hey, before I leave, you gotta hate this team.
I love
You gotta
Al
hate
Davis.
this person. You gotta hate this crew. Like, look. Now, I mean, Gruden had some emails in there and all that other stuff, and that's a whole nother story to what he was talking about. I don't agree at all with him or everything he said, but in this particular point, man, you're looking at a timeline of things that shows you there's some biasness towards the Raiders and everybody that's involved with them, i.e., John Gruden. And you see why John Gruden.
And they're going to get the last laugh by being in Vegas. They're going to dominate. They're
Yeah.
going to dominate.
They probably, That probably was payback. It probably was like all right, we got to give him something. We
I
can't
think,
give
Al,
him LA,
I think
but-
Al Davis is smiling from heaven.
Well,
Big time.
it is funny that hate was instilled. That
Yes.
paranoia.
Watch the
was
30 for 30
instilled.
guys on Al Davis and
It's great.
and
The
Alvin Pete Rozelle. It's phenomenal.
I think I look at it like this, Ryan. As we were listening to Dan Les did a great job of outlining kind of, the moves that are about to be made and how long it's going to take. I'm going to tell you like this. Everybody's throwing their guns out there. Everybody's throwing their big guns on the table in terms of John Gruden versus the NFL. They'll probably get all the way to the court, and then there'll be a last second. They want to see how far is John Gruden willing to go, because he's not clear either. Like, he's got some stuff in there, and the NFL knows it too. They're like, how far is John willing to go, knowing we have stuff on him too? If John stays the course, if John gets to the trial, I think they'll give him a heavy suit, but they're going to get all the way to the initial courtroom date, the trial, and then they'll settle. I've been watching a lot of
I don't think he'll squeal.
No, he won't. Because he's got stuff in there too.
And he's got friends that he don't want to screw.
Exactly. I've been watching a lot of Suits lately, man. So I'm on this law stuff.
Really good. Really good.
That was good stuff.
That was amazing.
I love they told him to go and meet with John Madden and Jeff Fisher.
I love he didn't go to that, but he paid the fine.
Yeah, oh my God.